Moving on, in a massive setback for West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, an independent fact-finding panel has now claimed that Ram Navami riots were pre-planned. The 6-member fact-finding committee alleged violation of human rights in West Bengal. It was led by former Patna High Court Chief Justice Narasimha Reddy, and in its interim report it said the riots during these processions were pre-planned, orchestrated and instigated. The panel is also seeking an NIA investigation into the matter. Let's take a quick check of what the report is saying further. So according to the panel, the riots were pre-planned, orchestrated and instigated. The riots were triggered after inflammatory speech given by Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee herself. Several user-generated videos show that peaceful Ram Navami procession was targeted. According to the panel, the rioters were exhorted to stop and target processions. The panel, as I mentioned, is suggesting the investigations should be handed over to an agency like the NIA, as there can be a larger design here concerning India's security. Meanwhile, Calcutta High Court today reserved its order on Suvendu Adhikari's plea seeking a probe by the NIA or the CBI. The court has observed that reports prima facie show that the violence was pre-planned. The stones were pelted from rooftops. This is what the court is recording. And it is not possible that stones could have been taken up in just 15 to 20 minutes. The incident is a result of an intelligence failure, again an indictment of the government. The court believes that there might be a third group taking advantage of the situation. The court also believes that a central agency should probe this because it could be difficult for the police to find out more about this third group. So whether you look at an independent fact-checking panel or the plea that is being heard in the court, it looks like the government has many questions to face. So will accountability be set? First up, also listen in to what Mamata Banerjee is saying on this.
If it is authenticated by the party, then it's a no value. Police has not given permission, number one. Number two, the meeting was mentioned, they will do it in the afternoon. But at the time of namaz time, intentionally, deliberately they went there to victimize the people. After that also, our police, 1 hour it was of course in a bad shape because BJP along with banduks, dancing with arms, bulldozer, tractors, they went.
First up, I want to go across to Justice L. Narasimha Reddy, who was the head of this fact-finding committee into the West Bengal violence. So thanks a lot for your time. You've used very strong words like orchestrated and instigated for the violence and the conflict that broke out. Could you briefly tell me why you believe so?
See, you know the gravity of the incidents there. It was very serious and many people were injured. The whole processions were dispersed. It was horrific. Some of it was recorded live. Now, when we wanted to go to those places after 1 week and to know the reasons or to interact with the people, either who are the victims or those who are witnesses, the police was adamant. They stopped us 3 to 4 kilometers ahead of that area.
Yes.
And 144 section was imposed at that place, but 3 kilometers away they have stopped us.
Okay.
And then we offered also, if you have got any apprehension, we will come in your vehicles. In your vehicles, not in group, 1 or 2 persons. Even that they did not permit us. And left with no alternative, we just called the victims themselves. After interacting with the victims, we were forced to arrive at those conclusions.
Okay, but could you give me details why you felt so, that all of this was orchestrated? And you've also laid the blame over the speech that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee gave herself. So could you explain to me why?
There I want to be a bit clear. It is not our opinion. We have just summed up. We have gathered the clippings of the speeches made by the Chief Minister at the relevant point of time. And the victims who met us said that one after the other, the statements from Chief Minister were going on. And the people there were getting encouraged, and they went on pelting stones and harassing us.
Okay.
Now, regarding the part played by the police, the victims told us that, and that was evident from many clippings also, and they have also recorded some of them. There, the police anticipated trouble in some of the areas.
Okay.
Deployment was also there. But then the organizers of the processions were a bit confident that police is here and we can conduct the procession peacefully. But what they said is the stones, brick pieces, all of them were collected and kept at certain places. And once the procession started, and at some places the pelting started, the police have coolly moved away. And the pelting, they had a free hand to pelt the stones. The processions were aborted and they have been dispersed. And the organizers, together with the women and children, whoever were there, enthusiastically participating in it. But when this disturbance has taken place, they have moved out to the residential blocks, areas, gated community.
Right.
There, the rioters have made forcible entry and they have gone to the rooftops, broken the glass of the houses, threatened the people, and police were nowhere to be seen there.
Okay.
When these rioters have gone away, police came and saying that there's a disturbance here, they have lathi charged and they fired tear gas shells there. And some injured persons were also seen here.
Okay.
So all this only shows the partisan nature of the police. Had the police been alert, all this could have been prevented successfully.
Okay. I also want to ask you, this is also something that came directly from the Chief Minister, that these processions went through routes that they were not predefined, that were not allowed, and they changed their routes, and therefore what has happened has happened. So there was a provocation of sorts. What have you found?
The organizers who met us, they said there was no such change of route. And if that is so, we have also had a big press conference here. Some similar question was put to us. It gave me a reaction to provocation from the procession.
Yes.
If that is so, where do you get so many stones and bricks? Spontaneously, fortunately, Calcutta roads are relatively clean and very good looking. We can't find a pebble there. Where do you get these stones and bricks in such large numbers? After this incident, it was almost truckloads of material were there. Where do you get all that? So the allegation that there was change of route, and that is evident. Everything is recorded. Then police should be able to say this was the approved route. This is the change, and that change has resulted in some inconvenience or provocation route. Therefore, we have done nothing of that sort. Even though they are not permitting, they can show to independent or either press reporters or people like us, they can show this is what has happened so that the society at large will know. We are not about finding fault with any particular section or agency.
Okay.
But the more and more they try to hide the situation, the suspicion is bound to be there, and the subsequent events have only fortified those suspicions.
Okay, I leave it at that. Justice Reddy, thanks a lot for speaking to us. Let's take this to our guests now. Guru Prakash of the BJP continues with us. Garga Chatterjee, political analyst leaning towards the TMC, is joining us. Garga, you look at this fact-finding committee, you may disagree with what they've come out with or what they're saying. But you look at what the High Court also said today. There has to be accountability set at the state's level. If you're saying there was provocation, how are these provocations allowed? If, the police insist that the route was changed, how did that even happen? Because the police can be seen, the police was there with the procession, so how did that happen? And if there are somebody outsiders, as the Chief Minister has alleged, who are instigating all of this, then this is a failure of intelligence. At each point, the responsibility lies with the state government.
This is not only failure of intelligence, this is failure of state government policy for decades. The fact that these events have happened in Noihati, in Shibpur, in Rishra, in Dalkhola, where are these areas? In what kind of criminals are infested in these areas? From which states are these criminals have always been coming from? Why have these areas have become almost Bengali, Shunno, Bengali, no Bengali, hardly any Bengali lives there? What are these zones?
So you're blaming outsiders?
No zones for Bengalis.
Even for areas like Hooghly and Howrah?
Yes, look at urban Hooghly, urban Howrah, look at the GT Road areas. Look at the Priyonath Bosti. look at Shalkia, look at Shivpur, look at the voter lists of these areas. Go to the Rishra areas where the voter lists, look at the lists. Go to the Shivpur area where this altercation happened, look at the voter lists. Look at them. We know these things.
So you are
And
saying
this is
that
a
because
complete- all these
outsiders have
governments,
come
now
and
the-
settled into these areas in Bengal, that's why this is happening. But I draw your attention one more time to what both this fact-finding panel is saying and what the court is saying, that it is not possible even on provocation to assemble so many stones to hurl from rooftops. What about that? What about those?
Groups living in those areas have been doing this for decades, holding state government of Bengal at hostage because they can assemble fast in large numbers.
What are these groups you're talking about?
Events happened.
No, because
Groups, you see the groups,
Mamta Banerjee says that because these processions went through.
They are not Bengalis, this I can tell you. They are
No,
not
but we are
Bengalis.
not
I don't know
discussing
who they are.
whether they're Bengali or not. That's not the
it
point
matters.
here.
Yes, it matters. Yes, it matters because a Bengali, let's say two Bengalis, Hindu and Muslim, even if they have enmity between themselves, they cannot go to Maharashtra and cause this mayhem between themselves. They will not even dare. So it is a collective failure of successive state governments in West Bengal to have let these criminal elements make almost areas.
Okay. It's interesting you say that because the TMC says and has been saying in the aftermath of this violence that actually this has only happened since 2016 or 2017, since the BJP became stronger. No, I'm just telling you, this is what the TMC. No, I'm just. Garga, please don't speak over me.
Then you are misinformed. You do not know.
No, I am not misinformed. I am just telling you what TMC representatives.
You are misinformed.
Garga, can you please calm down for 1 second? Can you please?
I'll tell you.
Can I please put my point? Then you come in. 1 second.
You put your point.
Yeah, 1 second. Guru Prakash, TMC representatives have said themselves.
You went to Guru Prakash. No, you did not let me speak.
No, you've spoken for 5 minutes. Garga, please calm down.
Out of water there. You stopped me there. I saw it.
Yes, I did stop you because I don't have endless time for you. Just calm down for 1 second.
Let me tell you 30 seconds.
No more 30 seconds. Just calm down. You'll get your time when your turn comes.
Because I thought you would speak.
Yeah, 1 second. Can I just go across to Guru Prakash? I don't have time to waste for this. The point that I was trying to put across, Guru Prakash, is that TMC representatives themselves have said that this Ram Navami procession violence has become routine in Bengal since 2016 or 2017. They have alleged this is happening because the BJP has grown in West Bengal. But I want to come back to the issue of the state accountability. You heard what Garga said, that this is basically outsiders. They are holding the state government to ransom, and this is something that the state government should look at.
Shivani, I patiently heard what our friend from TMC said, and I'm surprised I partly agree with him. He said it is the failure of the state government policy. That was his opening statement. That was his opening line. So I'm sure that there is an acknowledgement within the West Bengal government establishment that this is a failure of the state government policy. I have to put it on record. Number two, the fact-finding committee, the High Court, they have repeatedly said the fact-finding committee has gone to the extent of saying temples were desecrated. Police did not consciously allow them to reach to the locations. What is this? What is the idea? What is the plan of the West Bengal government? The Chief Minister of West Bengal, who continued to make inflammatory public comments in a prejudicial and biased manner. Who is responsible? Who is accountable? The fact-finding committee has categorically said, Shivani, that the police did not permit us to go to the violence-hit areas under the garb of Section 144. Who is responsible? But we have to understand one thing. This is what happens in West Bengal. Have you forgotten? May 2nd, Khela Hobe, a taণ্ডava of violence was unleashed on the streets of West Bengal. The Dalits of West Bengal, the poor people of West Bengal, the women of West Bengal, they were killed, brutally massacred. They were raped. Who is responsible for that?
Okay, let's not mix issues right now. Let's just focus on this one.
Government in West Bengal. No. Shivani, I was patiently listening.
Yeah.
I am just pinning the responsibility. You cannot shift accountability. You cannot shift the responsibility. As a chief minister, it is your fundamental duty. It is a fundamental duty. The citizens must be given the safety and security.
Okay, can I take that
as he came
to
to power, a systemic violence was unleashed on the streets of West Bengal.
Okay, can I go across to TMC
Everything.
spokesperson? One second, Majid Memon is joining us. Mr. Memon, the question is whether it's this independent fact-finding panel or the High Court, which is seized of this matter. They are pointing out to the fact that, you cannot collect so much stones as a reaction to something. This has to be pre-planned. They're talking about the fact that the state failed in controlling this situation. They're also talking about the fact that a larger central agency should probe this. Is this not all raising questions on the inability of the state government?
No, you see, if the relationship between any state and the center are not hostile, in that event, any such arrangement would be most welcome. But if the center is looking for, you see, at the drop of the hats, an opportunity to defame the state or to blame the chief minister who is hostile to the center, then certainly one has to be cautious. And as a matter of fact, as far as Ram Navami violence were concerned, from day one, our chief minister has been saying that, you see, those who have created trouble are not local. They have been brought in by certain Western interests.
Okay, but sir, the chief minister also squarely laid the blame on one side, which is this case, are those carrying out the processions even before an investigation could happen. Is this not prejudicing the entire case?
No. See, investigation has to be conducted by an absolutely unbiased and absolutely fair manner. Now, if the investigators, the fact-finding team does not believe in the local state people and leaning on the side of the center, then probably the results may not be...
No, the fact-finding committee is saying we were not allowed access to some areas, but we spoke to victims. They'll obviously go by the victim testimonies. Mr. Menon, my final question to you. Everybody is pointing out to the fact that there was almost an emboldening on one side to take law into their hands. The moment you use provocation as an excuse to take law into your own hands, it emboldens lawless elements. That's all. Is that not a mistake on the Chief Minister's part?
No, see, now, first of all, a major question that arises in the minds of common people who may not be belonging to this side or to that side, whether it is Mamta versus Modi or whether it is BJP versus TMC. If an independent mind would think that how is it that on such an occasion like a festival of Ram Navami, which has to be revered and enjoyed by the people,
right.
How is it that only the states, Bihar and West Bengal, which are not ruled by BJP, that there are trouble?
Actually, this happened in Maharashtra too. So I'm not sure if that link is very...
Also
it's a very strenuous link. But let's not get into that. I've run out of time. Ultimately, I think ultimately what the High Court will decide and say in this matter will hold weight. Let's wait and see how this pans out. I do thank all of our guests for joining us.